Welcome, everyone, back to the Mile High Monsters. I'm Mike Carmelini, and today we're going to take a little look at Sean Payton, the gambler. He tends to gamble a little bit, and honestly, for me personally, I'm starting to be okay with it. His track record is pretty good, as they say, and I think it all started for me in the Super Bowl when he led off the second half with an onside kick, which kind of shocked everybody. Just a gambler, yet it worked out. But now here we are, 3 years in, and Sean Payton is running the show at Dove Valley, and he's risking things in kind of a different way, I think we could say. But historically, again, he tends to do pretty well with that. Just going back over some of the, like the ones were already kind of past. Okay, so the first one was immediately recognizing that Russ wasn't going to work out here, and I think we all saw that kind of right away. Russ was a bad fit. I mean, for me, even the initial press conference with him gave me the heebie-jeebies. It just didn't feel right. There was something off about him. But then his play on the field, it was, of course, this was Hackett, so you can forgive some of that first year. But then when Sean came in, it didn't take him long to realize that Russ just wasn't going to work out. And now to get rid of Russ was a big move, certainly across the league, and it shook the city, the league, it shook everyone because a lot of it was because of like how they were going to do it, and what they were going to do is eat ungodly amount of cap space. And I guess I should have had that number ready for you. I've kind of put that in the back of my mind where I try not to remember that stuff, but it worked out. Like they ate all that cap, spread it over like 2 seasons, and he was the highest paid player on the team that wasn't on the team. And so that was his big first, like, you know what, I'm doing it my way. I don't care what anybody thinks. And it worked out. The second one that I remember is when the whole league was telling him he was crazy if he drafted Bo Nix at number 12 in the first round. This was not controversial on this show at all. I've always been a draft quarterbacks until you find the one, the guy, and then build around him. And you guys know that from me. Like you've seen me argue against building a team, and you can always get your quarterback later. I never believed in any of that stuff. But for him to, again, go against the grain, the experts, the people that called him crazy, and say, no, this is my guy. He did what he had to do. He put out some smoke screens. He got Bo Nix right where, didn't have to trade anything, got him right where we wanted him. And obviously that's worked out really well for the Broncos. Bo Nix is our guy. He's made the playoffs both in his first 2 seasons, both times took us all the way to the AFC Championship game, save for that, tragic ending at the, after the Buffalo game with the broken ankle where all our hearts were broken. And then the writing was on the wall, and, God bless us all for doing the Stiddy thing for a couple weeks there, but it is what it is. I say we would have won that game, no problem. I think we all agree on that. In fact, I rarely see people who think otherwise. When you lose 10-7 at home with your backup quarterback and no running back and throwing passes to Michael Bandy, it's pretty obvious that Bo Nix could have been the difference in that game. Another underrated move and risk that he took was calling VJ and saying, hey, look, man, I know you were fired by this team, but we'd love to have you back. And then talking him into bringing him back. Boy, did that one pay off. Now, you guys know that I have my issues with our defense and how they tend to fall off and let teams kind of move up and down the field between the 20s. But that's their style of play. They were still, top 5 in scoring defense, top 5 in most defensive measures. So that one really worked out. And then him calling his shot is another one too. Was it last year, I think? And he said, I've coached maybe 7 teams that I can say are Super Bowl, caliber teams or a Super Bowl roster. He said that last year, and I was like, I kind of cringed a little. I was like, man, poster board material, all that stuff. But again, he backed it up. Again, we were, one ankle away from the Super Bowl. So, Sean has a tendency to be a risk taker, a bit of a gambler. And who am I to question it, right? Like he gets it done. So this year, he's taking a lot of risks, in my opinion. I've got 5 or so here that I want to bring up. I want to get your thoughts on it. Please like and subscribe if you haven't been on here. Love to have you here in the chat with us. Become a fellow monster with the rest of my monsters here. We do talk a lot of ball here. We love it. We got a lot of smart people that watch the show that are in the comments. So we'd love to have you join up. So hit the like, hit the subscribe. Hopefully I earned it, as my buddy Kodiak has to say all the time. All right, so here's the 5 from this year. Let's start with this one. Literally re-signing 21 of 22 starters. I saw this earlier today. This is from, I think it's Luca Evans. Of course, you guys know who Luca is of the Denver Post. Fantastic writer. But he put out that 94% of our snaps from last year were re-signed. So the guys that played 94% of our snaps were brought back in. That is a crazy, crazy number. We all sat and watched free agency start. We were waiting for the Broncos to use this cap space to go out and get, go get a linebacker, go get a running back. We're all watching the ETN watch, or A-Chain watch, as he calls himself now. We were all, 100% in, like, when's it going to happen? And then silence, crickets, nothing. And I got to admit, I was vocal. Like, I did not see the vision. I thought, this is our Super Bowl window. Now's the time to go all in. What are we doing here? And Sean's like, he said it himself, we're not going to fall into the frenzy. He's kind of at the owners' meetings last week. He's kind of pointing around the room saying these guys want to win the first day of free agency, but we just want to win. He was backing all that up, basically saying it was silly to go out and do all that stuff, but bringing back all these starters as a refresher course. Here's your depth chart for next year right now. You're going to find that it looks very, very similar to the team that we fielded last year. Obviously, Bo Nix is your quarterback. Jarrett Stidham and Sam Ehlinger. Now, these guys just said these two are going to battle for number 2. I found that really interesting. I had Troy Rank on a couple days ago. He believes that there's not that much to that. However that works out probably doesn't matter. I tend to agree with that. I think that if Bo goes out, none of this is going to matter because we have a really good roster, but a lot of it is Bo. Let's be honest. Bo is so underrated, and he won so many games for us just by putting the team on his shoulders and just making crazy stuff happen. So you guys know my love for Bo Nix, but there's Bo, and then J.K. Dobbins right back there. There's Court. Here's our only change. I think you guys can see my cursor on the screen. Yeah, you should be able to. There's Jalen Waddle. So there's your one change. And then it's Frank, Ingram, Prentice is back, Bowles. Powers, Palczewski is nice because Palczewski played like 10 games for us last year. So I like the depth there. Of course, Wattenberger's back. We'll see how Alex Forsythe's doing with that ankle. But again, there's good and bad here. It's great that our offensive line is all back again. The system's not going to change much. So it's always good to keep your offensive line back. Obviously, we can agree on that. On the defensive side, of course, we lost JFM. You've got Roach, Awazarique's out there. Um, there's a hole there a little bit. I know they brought Matt Henningsen back. Uh, but again, there's some question marks here about bringing some of these guys back and what they signed them for. Um, if you remember, Adam Troutman back here on the offense, they brought him back on like a 3-year deal or something. When we all thought, tight end was definitely one that the team would go out and look for a replacement. So this first one, is it crazy? It's probably not crazy, but is it right? Is it wrong? I don't think we find out until the season starts. Of course, we still have the draft, and then we'll have that last bit of, free agency signings that we do, towards the end of camp. So, it's not all set in stone. But it's really different, as my good friend Colum said on the show the other day. Sean Payton zigs while everybody else is zagging, and then he zags when everybody else is zigging. He just always seems to go against the grain. And if he didn't have such a good track record of it, this whole thing would seem a little questionable to me. Now, I do feel a little better about this. This will be my last comment on this first one, the re-signing of the starters, because this was put to me, and this was also Troy Rank that said this. He said that he talked to Sean about this, and Sean Payton said, "Look, we're looking at this like a college team or a collegiate, football team. Instead of playing with sophomores and juniors now my team is juniors and seniors." There's something to be said about that. We're not changing the system. VJ's coming back. I know Davis Webb will be calling the plays, but he's going to be calling Sean Payton's offense, with his own tweaks in it, hopefully. And we'll get into that too, obviously. And we have on the show before, you guys know that. But what's Webb going to do? Is he going to include tight ends? So does the Troutman, Ingram, Nate Atkins thing, does it really matter? They weren't really used, so maybe they could be fine. So this one, is it a win? Is it a loss? I don't know. Maybe a win. Maybe the smart thing to do. But I think if it hadn't been for the Waddle trade, I would be crapping my proverbial pants right now. So Dak, heartbroken. We will be back better than ever. What are we heartbroken about, Dak? Was it, because of what happened in the game? It's good to see you, Dak. Thanks for coming in, man. I think we will be back. And it's good to know, good news out of Dove Valley is that Bo is, way ahead of schedule. He's already working out, and he'll be ready for OTAs. So, dodge a bullet on that one. Let's hope that stays. But what do you guys think? I know this is a weird time of day. Probably not a lot of people watching live. So, if you're watching this later, please leave a comment below, and I will answer every one of those. If you are watching live, and I see that some of you are, I'd love to see you in the chat to give me your thoughts on these things, because maybe I'm not looking at them right, but I have to admit I do feel better when Sean puts it. This is like a college team now. We've got our seniors instead of a bunch of freshmen and sophomores. These guys are going to know what they're doing, when to do it, and I kind of feel a little bit better about that. That makes me happy. So maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. So move number 2, finally his first move was the trade for Waddle. Now, this might not. A lot of people might not look at this one as crazy or risky. I would say that I probably agree with you there, but I did put it here because it's really about like the 5 things that he did or didn't do this offseason that you have to judge, and you've only got so much information, but these are the things that he believes presumably George Payton believes that will get them over the top. Now, I for one loved the Waddle trade. Super excited for that. Of course, you guys. Uh, I think almost everyone was. I guess the only way you could consider this risky is when you start thinking about cost, and I think that kind of stuff for me is more about the draft guys and their points on drafts, and how much did we give up, or how much. Like I don't really care what the team pays for someone. You know, I George and those guys do a great job of managing the cap. Uh, Aside from the whole Russell Wilson, contract and all that, but they found a way out of it. The Waddle trade, the one, a three, and then we got a fourth back, I think, or whatever that was. I don't really care. You're not going to get a better player than Jalen Waddle at number 30 in this draft anyway. So I agree with that sentiment. I think this is a great move for the team. And Waddle had, and remember, this is Waddle, and I hope you guys can see this, but this is Waddle last year in his games. Now, remember, his quarterback was just sent packing, and then like for 5 or 6 or 7 of these games, they had like no-name quarterbacks throwing to him, and he still got 910 yards receiving, which, by the way, would put him second in the AFC West over everyone, except Cortland Sutton. So that's a 1-2 powerhouse that looks great. He's averaging over 14 yards a catch, 6 touchdowns, which is fine, especially for a team. They lose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They lost 9 games. Not scoring a lot of points. Again, just a team that was kind of trash last year, especially at the quarterback position. Tua just wasn't getting it done, and we'll see if he can, get himself back, get it right. But still a few 100-yard games, 99, 95, 110, 80, 42. These are all fine numbers. So he's still, was very consistent. Not doing anything here at the end of the year, but the year was over. And I don't follow the Dolphins well enough to know, what was going on there. But honestly, guys, this move, if we want to call it a risk, I think it's a win. I think this is one that's going to pay off. So, fight me on that one, I guess. I don't think anybody will, though. Now, this one, here's one where I feel like half of my viewers, half of the people in Broncos country, maybe, and the other half, are kind of against each other here on this one. I love this signing. J.K. Dobbins as running back 1 is okay. You can definitely file this one under risky, right? Like there's no way around it. This is a risky a move. Sean said we had to have him back. He's too important to the team. Obviously, he's loved, and he kind of was. If you guys remember from camp last year, it was really interesting because the defense talking a lot of smack. These guys are feeling it, and the offense was just not really, saying anything back or doing anything. In comes J.K. Dobbins, and he's out there talking smack, like, we're going to run all over you guys. We're going to kill you guys. And the offense felt that, and he woke them up. I think he was a big part of that. I think his, I don't know. I don't know if I would call it leadership skills, but like his fire and his, love of Denver, the way he is with the fans, the way he is with the team, the way he kind of just brought that. I'm too old to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. He brought that dog mentality to the team, just kind of changing the face of the offense. Now, Bo Nix is obviously the face of the offense, but it would be hard to say they had really any dogs in the weapons department, and he brought that. And a lot of these games from last year, 5.4 yards a carry, 7.5 yards a carry, 6.3 yards a carry, 4 yards a carry, 5.8, 7.4, 4.1, 4.3, average 5. I mean, I get it. Now, the caveat to this, and where this will really be for me, is if we sit, pat with our running back room. Now, we brought everybody back. I'll bring this depth chart back up again. So, of course, J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey are back. Totally fine with that. I think we all are. Like, that's great. But then we've got Jaleel McLaughlin, Tyler Bidet as our third and fourth running backs. That's probably not okay. Like, one of those guys is going to have to go, and we're going to have to bring in either draft one of these these running backs that we've been talking about on the show and that everybody's talking about. Either we're going to have to bring one of those guys in, or we're going to have to pick up someone late at the end of camp when they start releasing some of these vets. There's going to be some vet running backs out there that are going to fall into that, 5'11", 220, kind of range, who can pass block, who can get a first down on a 3rd and 2, which RJ Harvey is our in most ways, I guess you could even say, our best playmaker. He scored 12 touchdowns. He's fantastic, but he is not a 3rd and 2 running back. It's almost a tell they're going to throw a screen or they're going to throw something out. They're not going to hand it off to RJ and let him pound his way to a first down. And that was trouble. That caused us trouble. And it really showed up in the AFC Championship game where they really kept him in check. And, I think a J.K. Dobbins back may have changed that game. They would have had to respect the run a lot more. So this move is risky. It's one that I love. I just love J.K. Dobbins. His injury history is his injury history. There's no way around it. I guess the one good thing about his particular injury history is that it's something else all the time. Like, he hurt, he hurt his foot, he hurt this. It's not like he has this recurring knee injury like Jake Butt or somebody like that, where it's just like his knee always goes out, or, you can never depend on him. He just has been getting bit by the injury bug, as they like to say. And this could be the year, and this is my copium, this is my fandom, but I think this is the year that he gets through. I think Sean and George will bring in another running back. They'll be smart with JK. And he'll be there for the playoffs this year when we go to the playoffs. So this is the other risky one that you kind of really have to call it a risk, guys. I mean, that's just, betting it all on him to stay healthy would be crazy. But let's hope they bring somebody else in just to back up. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, when to walk away, know when to run. Dennis with the gambler. That's right. What was his name? Passed away. Kenny Rogers. Yeah, I got that reference, Dennis. See, I told you my listeners were smart. So these guys know their stuff. So, all right, let's move on. This one, all right, bringing Singleton back. Now, I know that I already talked about bringing back 21 to 22 starters. I know this is part of it. I know this is kind of the same thing, but it's not. This one's different. Okay, so Greenlaw doesn't work out. They know he's not going to work out. They send him. They re-sign Singleton, 33-year-old Alex Singleton, who was definitely one of the weakest players on our defense. A liability in coverage. Good at making tackles now. He kind of got rid of his missed tackle stuff, but as has been said before, he's making them 4 yards downfield. It really doesn't help you. Like, he's not shooting the gap. He's not making the plays. He did make some big plays for us last year, though. Now Sternad will be lined up next to him at this point. So you've got Sternad, who I like, Singleton, who I like, but I still think this one was a risk. There were some upgrades out there in free agency that would not have broke the bank, that we would have had the cap room for. I think this one is a risk that I don't like for Sean. And actually, you know what? Actually, let's throw the Ellis thing into this. now we're going to start running Ellis at inside linebacker. Or at least we're trying it out. A couple things with that. Like I don't really. I've seen so many different opinions on this. Like I'm not really sure what to make of it or how to even categorize it. But it's like Ellis looked really good on the edge. I did ask the question last year, and I put that tweet up about a week ago or so, where I thought about, hey, wouldn't Ellis? This is from 25. Wouldn't Ellis look good as an inside linebacker? Has he ever played inside linebacker? What's his history? Like he does look like an inside linebacker, and he got better in space as the season went on. Made a great play in the AFC Champ. I think he's a player who could do it, but this one does make me nervous. Like, is it because we brought Singleton back? Is it because they like what they've seen from Q Robinson? Is it a combination of these things? Like I think they're definitely hurting one position to maybe help a position that maybe they're not as excited about as we think. Obviously, this is before the draft, but this is one I don't like. I'm okay with it. Like it doesn't scare me. Obviously, our defense was fine, and if they add more offensive weapons and go a little more offense, I'll understand it more that way too. Because honestly, the defense will be good enough next season. I think even with just the way it is right now, even with not having JFM, if Owazurike can play, you've got Tillman stepping up, Savion Jones, don't know what we have from him, but Malcolm Roach is going to have to play well, and I think he will. So I guess just looking at the defense, Alex Singleton being there, I guess to that I would say thank God we got Hufanga, and let's hope Hufanga stays healthy because he really helps that run game in the middle, guys. And so maybe this one doesn't kill us, but I would say I'm not optimistic about this one. I'm more like, okay, that one kind of hurts us a little bit, but gauging how much it hurts at this point, I don't know. It's hard to say. What's up, Jackson? Good to see you, my brother. Always see you in here. I love having you here. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a good Easter, as well as everyone. If you don't do Easter, that's great. We do here at the Carmelini Ranch. So, it was fantastic. And I'm off today. So thank you, Easter. All right. Here's another one where Sean is zagging while everybody's zigging. May 4th for OTAs, or I put minicamp up there. It's really probably just OTAs. But I saw today that, Baltimore is out there having their OTAs right now. Those guys are running around. And Sean said, no, it's going to be another, some teams up to a month later than other teams. This one I really, really do like. We need to understand what a long season this is. Sean's planning on this being another long season for the Broncos. Some aging vets, give them the downtime. Hopefully they're, and then when he brings them in, it's basically just going to be running and lifting weights, like just getting in shape. So I think the first sign of my faith in this, I think, is what I said at the beginning of the show. We're playing with juniors and seniors now instead of sophomores and juniors. These guys already know the system. They already know what they're doing. He doesn't need to bring these guys in and teach them a new offense or anything. These guys are going to know all this stuff. So keep them fresh. It does take a long time to recover from a long playoff season. And it's going to be a tough camp. It always is. Sean runs it. Greenlaw couldn't even handle it here. It was too tough for him. He said it himself. So, these men are going to come in, they're going to get in shape, and then they'll start tightening things up. But you got to file it under risk. It's just really different. It's really late to do that. But this is one I like too. I think it's a I think it's a smart move, especially for a team that has a bunch of vets. So I'm on board with that one. Dennis, may the fourth be with you. That's right. I'm sure you can see some. Where's all my Star Wars stuff? Oh well, there's Darth Vader there. You would think I would have more Star Wars stuff back in my background, but it's all laying over there on the other side of the studio. So I feel a little embarrassed that I only have one Star Wars reference on my screen behind me. But yeah, may the fourth be with you. It's a Star Wars day to start camp. I love that. Um, I don't know. It's interesting how Sean just kind of does his own thing, but it's kind of hard to argue with, with the success he's had. And we're going to find out here in the draft what he thinks of maybe this inside linebacker room. I think it would be a mistake to. Maybe not a mistake, but I'd be surprised with the age of Alex Singleton and who we have behind him. We haven't seen anything from Drew Sanders. He's always injured. Reed looks nice. Bailey looked nice when we saw him. But then didn't look nice when he got a little bit more time. So it's hard to say. But I'd be really surprised if they don't address that position and address the running back position or the tight end position in the draft. But the closer we get to the draft, more people are talking about defensive line. They're talking about offensive line. I've seen a lot of people talking about guards. I don't know, Super Bowl window. Like what are you going to do at pick 62? So I ask everybody that comes on the show this question, if the running back that you want is there, the tight end you want is there, the inside linebackers is there that you want. Everyone so far has said the running back. We saw what happened last year. That would be my answer too. And I think we need all three of those positions addressed. And there's plenty of, we have plenty of picks, and we can pick up other ones. So it doesn't have to be at 62, but I'd be surprised. I saw that my guy David at David Talks Broncos has been postulating a few later round running backs, which I find interesting. I do want to. Let's see. Did I do? I don't know my bookmarks. Let me see if I bookmarked one of these. There was. So Andy at Andy with 2 Y's, NFL. A lot of you guys probably know him. Does great work over on Twitter. Jackson, you're not on Twitter, so you wouldn't know this, but he has his. Can I share this with you guys? I think I can. So here's his top 10 running backs for the draft. Good list, and you guys can put. It's so funny to watch people, put these in order. A lot of that comes from, other sources, and then we just kind of jump on board. But I think we can all agree that Jeremiah Love looks like, running back one. Now, my target running back is Jadarian Price for the Broncos. I think he will be available somewhere in the second round. And I think they could make a move to get up and get him if they need to move up to 50 or something. Excuse me. But look at this, guys. Jadarian Price, Mike Washington, Emmett Johnson, Jonah Coleman. That's 4 running backs. One of those 4 or 2 of those 4 will be there at 62. I can almost guarantee it. And man, I'd take any one of these guys to be, a running back 3 behind RJ and JK as the backup rotational, come in and spell these guys, also see what they got. All these guys are pretty darn good fit. I know a lot of people think Emmett Johnson might be a little too much like RJ, but I disagree with that. I like Jonah Coleman a lot. Mike Washington had Justin Adams from CBS on the other night, and he loves him some Mike Washington. I have a lot of respect for Justin. So the guys that I respect, they all love some version of these guys. But I was just talking to you guys about David at David Talks Broncos, who probably every one of you guys subscribe to. He's doing great, but he's on this show every Wednesday. So you're familiar with him here if you're not there. But He was talking about Katron Allen. And don't forget, where's my guy? Nick Singleton still in there. So late round draft picks. There's a lot of opportunity here to upgrade or at least solidify that running back room. I think that would make the one I call the risk of bringing back Dobbins a lot less risky. So, gosh, I'd be happy with almost all these guys. I don't know about Claiborne. I don't know about Black. That's just because I'm too lazy to do, draft work. I have so many friends and colleagues that do all that work that I just get to, like Andy, that I just get to grab off. And there's his Twitter handle right there, Andy. I love you. So good kid, very smart kid, up and comer. But yeah, I let them do the work. I have Seth McGowan was another one who was brought up on the show the other night. It's crazy. Like normally it's like, O'Marion Hampton, Travion Henderson, and Judkins. And then those are would be the same three you would hear over and over like last year. This year, every time I bring somebody on or I talk to them, they're like, you know what? Yeah, early rounds, love Price, but man, any of these guys, like this is just a good, solid running back class. And you could rank these. You probably find rankings. I've seen Nick Singleton ranked like third on some people's. So it's not crazy to think that we could take care of that position in the draft and come out with somebody that actually will play. Turtle, haven't seen you in a minute. It's good to see you. He says, I think we make some moves right after the draft with free agency when the prices have dropped. No way we rely on just draft picks to fix our needs. Yeah, it's almost like I've been saying that every show for the last month. So I agree with you 100%. Like this is where we get what we get in the draft. We go to camp and, Jaleel and Bidet, those guys will be there for camp. And then when people start making their cuts, there's going to be some like legit NFL running backs, not like guys that you would want to start over a J.K. Dobbins or RJ, but a running back 3. Like there's going to be some real good size professional running back that Sean is going to want, and he's going to go grab one of those. I think you'll find that defense will be part of that too, Turtle. I wouldn't be surprised to see a linebacker or a defensive lineman come out of that mix too. So we will watch that. And as always, watch, camp wide receivers too. Might bring some of those and don't freak out what they do, and please don't freak out on our 7th round draft picks like we did with Loner last year. That was crazy. Dennis, take the tight end at 62. Man, I'll tell you what, if it's Stowers, I'd be on board with you. I think Roush you could wait on, Trigg you could wait on. But if Stowers is still there, like at 50, if Stowers is still on the board at like 50 or 55 or something, if I'm the Broncos, I'm trading up. And getting Stowers. I'm really, really in love with that guy. I think that guy would be fantastic. Let me know who you're thinking about, Dennis. Like if you think what tight end you've got in mind at 62. There's certainly a few of them that would look really good in a Broncos uniform. All right, I'm just checking my bookmarks to see what else I'm missing. Turtle comes back in, says Payton basically confirmed it in those press conferences they had. Oh, you're talking about like the late moves? Yeah, he's going to do that. And all teams are going to be looking to do that, but they're going to be looking for, like, I think Payton said big guys. Don't rule out that could mean a big running back. Like, I know that we have more offensive weapons now, and Davis Webb is calling the plays. But J.K. Dobbins can pick up a 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. Like he can muscle his way through. RJ can bounce off people when he gets in space and make stuff happen that honestly saved our butts last year a lot. Don't confuse us with hate, but on one hand, here I am sitting here telling you I think this is the year that J.K. Dobbins stays healthy, and then I'm saying, but please have a backup for him. So I guess maybe it's not really a contradiction, though, is it? Right? It's just like the smart thing to do. Like you've got to do that. But yeah, I think that's what they do too. Turtle, no doubt. Like they're going to have to. Gee, I thought this was going to be like a 20-minute show. It's 40 minutes in. So this is how much I love talking football with you guys. Just checking my bookmarks. Oh, so you guys saw where George said that they're not gonna trade any of their wide receivers. They're gonna have to cut some. They're not gonna trade any. Um, I don't think they should. I think they should keep the big five for sure. Why trade them out when you're trying to make your Super Bowl run? Here's here's another top 5 running back list: Love, Price, Johnson, Coleman, Washington. So just a little bit, Jadarian Price at 2, and then Johnson, Coleman, and Washington are kind of just mixed around. That's from Marquee Sports, who's fantastic as well. And yeah, so obviously Jeremiah Love is not going to be around for us. But yeah, wouldn't you guys be happy with like any of these guys? I certainly would. Yeah, the Jared Stidham and Sam Ellinger competing for the Broncos number 2 spot. I don't know what to make of that. Like, why even say that? Are you gonna send Stidham away, like Bo's best buddy? I don't know why that was put out there, but maybe that was more to boost Ellinger. So maybe there could be a package or something for him. Like this time of year, it's really hard to figure out what's going on. And I'm just kind of wrapping up the week, so I'll be back Wednesday with David on the show. So I just want to clean out my bookmarks. I thought that Greg Penner at the owners meeting coming out and saying that Sean Payton handing the play calling to Davis Webb was entirely Payton's decision. Like I never had a doubt that it was. We saw the writing on the wall, some of the things he was saying. Said this before, Sean has gotten older. He's starting to get a little too conservative in his play calling. He saw that in himself. He saw that he was second guessing himself. I get that. When you get to a certain age, you've made enough mistakes and you've seen the repercussions of those mistakes. And so when you're younger, you're more like, go for it. Let's go for the end zone on this play. Let's go deep here. Let's go. And Sean used to be like that. He used to attack a lot. But when you've seen games that you let get away from you because you got too aggressive, you start to let that affect your decision making and you start to second guess yourself. And Sean saw that in himself. I respect him for that. And also to keep a guy like Webb, he was going to have to do that. So I think it was a perfect storm. I don't consider that one a risk. Because Sean has handed off play calling before, and when he didn't like what he saw, he yanked it back. So that's not a big risk. I think this is going to be one that really works out. Yeah, Sadiq's not going to be there, but Stowers or Claire, Max Claire's another one who will probably be there. Trig, I can't remember the other ones. I didn't really have like a tight end show set up. But no, I think Sadiq, yeah, he's not. Well, I don't think he gets past Kansas City. I don't think he gets past Dallas. Like he's probably going to go in the top 15, 18 picks. So yeah, I agree. No, he's not going to be there, but let's hope these other guys are. I think that would be fantastic. A little other news. They're working on an extension for George Payton. I think it's time for all of us to get on board with George and Sean are becoming a team that works really well together. So I'm fine with that. Again, on Nick's, he's ahead of schedule. He's running and jumping. So I think we're all really happy there that he'll be 100% ready for the offseason program. And I think that's about it. Yeah. So Luca Evans of the Post, he asked George Payton if the Broncos are comfortable with running back J.K. Dobbins' injury history. And George says, yeah, we are. We like the backs. RJ's going to keep getting better. Then you've got Bidet and Jaleel. Okay. Well, we already talked about that. But he also said, we're going to be looking in the draft. We're going to be looking after the draft. They're going to get another running back. That's just going to happen. I just Jaleel's fun to watch. Bidet, does some special teams things, but it's time. They're both too small. We talk about how small. At least we talked about it after the draft, how small RJ was. He's actually really thick, but these guys are all like 5'8", running backs. Like we need something a little bigger. So yeah, I believe they'll be definitely looking. And on the JFM replacement, they like Savion Jones. So Wazirike. So, we'll see if they go outside. I think Turtle said earlier, the free agency stuff later is going to come into play on those positions too. So the last quote here is they still like the wide receiver room. They're talking about Bandy and little Jordan Humphrey. I mean, come on, George. Look, they're practice squad players. If you want to keep them on the practice squad, if they have that ability, fine. But I don't want to see them on the field in the divisional rounds of the playoffs. Like little Jordan Humphrey and Bandy were getting way too many targets. So we don't want to see that again. Can we please just keep all our running backs? I don't see anybody arguing with me about keeping our wide receivers. I really think we need to keep them all. Yeah, I agree. Dennis says this is a draft to grab a tight end. This is a really good one for that. I think it's a good one for running backs and tight ends. And it's not a strong draft, but there's also some linebackers out there that could help us out a lot. It's so hard to pick. Like I don't think like who of these people are going to start. I don't think you're going to bring in a draft pick at inside linebacker that's going to start. That's for sure. But if you grab Stowers or Claire or one of those guys, they could challenge Troutman for some of that play time. They could challenge. There could be packages for them. But running back would be probably your most impactful position in this draft with the way this team is built right now. I think that's where you could probably find your players to make an impact. But as far as team building goes, probably not the smartest thing to do. Like maybe going later for a running back and getting your tight end now might make more sense in a team building strategy. But then you could say that about defensive line and or offensive line. I haven't done a lot of talking about that. But a lot of the people I know are talking about defensive line, offensive line. I know Zach Seegers at Let's Talk Broncos. Some of the people I follow on Twitter, Jolene, Dak, these guys that really spend a lot of time looking at the draft. Gosh, who am I trying to think of? Nick Kendall over at Building the Broncos. He and Carl Dummler do a great job of looking at the draft. And so you probably have to keep those kind of team building picks on the table at that 62. And then certainly in the later rounds for some big guys, the Matt Henningsons of the world are there. But we really, you saw what happened when JFM left. It was like, oh crap, like now what? And I'm not blaming the Broncos for not bringing back JFM. We couldn't afford him. Here's that tweet I was looking for earlier. George Payton said he hadn't done studies on Broncos retention. This is bringing back all the players. He said, but I know it's probably pretty unique. It's not for everyone what we're doing. As of mid-March, tracking for Broncos Denver Post, 94% of Denver's 2025 snaps are back under contract for 2026, which is just crazy to me. Yet here we are. The only two changes are JFM and Waddle. So we'll see what percentage that is. I think that about wraps up. I think I got all through all my I usually put up a banner for that when I'm like, where did I put that? Like, yeah, bookmarks. Yay, there's my banner. Oh, I did have it up. Okay, good. I just wanted you guys to know what I was doing. Like, I always want to check my bookmarks. Kalshi's got the Broncos at 34% to win the AFC West. Take that for what it's worth. So we're favored by Kalshi. I'm not sponsored by Kalshi or anything, so I'm just putting that out there. Now, here's what I will also tell you. When you listen to these guys talk and you guys know all this, and thanks for all the comments. I always appreciate that, especially in these middle of the day kind of shows that I just kind of come out to the studio and knock one out. It has been a long time since we drafted O lineman. It's been since 2017 since we drafted a tackle. So that's been a real long time. It's time. You can't have everything. So, I'll forgive them if they do that. If they draft a cornerback at 62, I will not forgive them. We already have one sitting on the bench. But here's the thought I'll leave you with. When you listen to what these guys say, pay attention more to what they do than what they say. Because George and Sean were telling us how much they loved our wide receiver room right up to the day that they traded a first and a third for Jalen Waddle. So if they say they love the running back room, they do love JK. They wouldn't have signed him back. They didn't need to. Like, they did that. They were under no pressure to do that. So I do believe that their actions spoke loudly there. They brought him back. What they think of RJ, I know they love him, but what they think of him as a running back, you're going to find out in the draft and in free agency, because actions speak louder than words. And the gambles that they've taken this season probably are okay. But certainly, just to review, we re-signed 21 and 22 starters, gave up a 1 and a 3 for Waddle, brought back J.K. Dobbins, who's never finished a full season as our running back 1. We brought Singleton back when other options were available, and we pushed off our OTAs until May 4th. Interesting stuff. I guess the answer to any of this stuff won't, like, whether it was good or not, doesn't come until the season, or maybe even after the season. And then it'll just be subjective. Like, am I blaming, you can't blame if Dobbins goes down and they don't have another backup, then that'll be pretty obvious that was a mistake. But like the other ones, like, if Waddle only gets 800 yards, or if Singleton plays okay, like, how do you really judge those moves? I guess you just judge it on what the team does over the season. The team's got a harder schedule this year. They chose not to upgrade a lot of positions, but they did make a massive upgrade with Waddle. Maybe that'll be enough. We're going to find out. We'll be talking more about this on Wednesday with David at David Talks Broncos. And you know what? I hope you guys had a great weekend. Thanks for letting me come on. I love doing these little solo shows when I get a chance, a little time to come out here and talk ball with you guys. So I appreciate you guys in the stream. Please hit the like button. It helps with some sort of matrix algorithm crap with YouTube. The more people that like the stream, the more people that YouTube sends it out to. So it helps me out. And we've been getting a great, we're on our way to 2,500. So it's been great. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys. Go Broncos. I will see you Wednesday at the latest. Take care.